First, never meet the Empress's gaze unless spoken to. Second, never, under any circumstances, fall in love with the princess. He broke the second rule within a month. Princess Esselira of the Aurelian Dominion was nothing like the cold, distant royalty depicted in coalition briefings. She was curious to a fault, endlessly questioning, fascinated by human music, human stories, and human stubbornness. Where other Aurelians moved with rigid ceremonial grace, Esselira moved with restless energy, her iridescent skin shifting colors with her emotions. Elias noticed early that when she laughed, her hues brightened into warm golds and violets. And when she looked at him, they softened. He was supposed to be invisible, just another human cultural liaison assigned to the Dominion after Earth's admission into interstellar society. His duties were simple: translate, assist, observe, and never interfere. But Esselira interfered with his composure daily. "Elias," she said one evening as they walked the sky gardens of the capital spire, "why do humans create stories where love ends badly?" He hesitated. "Because sometimes it does. And telling the story helps us survive it." Her skin dimmed slightly. "That sounds painful." "It is," he admitted, "but we still do it." She stopped walking and looked at him fully then, eyes luminous. "Humans are very brave." His heart skipped. He lowered his gaze, reminding himself of the rules. What he did not tell her, what he could never tell her, was that her mother, Empress Valethera, had built her empire on a lie that would shatter everything Esselira believed about herself. And Elias was one of the few living beings who knew the truth. He learned the secret 3 years earlier. Before the assignment, before the palace, before the princess. Elias had been a data analyst for the Coalition's Historical Reconciliation Project, tasked with comparing archived records from extinct civilizations. That was when he found it, a discrepancy buried beneath layers of redacted data. The Aurelians were not the ancient, naturally evolved species they claimed to be. They were engineered, created thousands of years ago by a precursor civilization as living energy conduits, biological regulators designed to stabilize space-time around volatile star systems. The Empress's bloodline was not merely royal. It was designed. And Esselira was the first Aurelian born with something unprecedented: choice. Where her ancestors were bound by instinctive loyalty to the Empire's guiding algorithms, Esselira could deviate. Feel. Question. Love. The Empress knew this, and feared it, which was why Elias had been reassigned to the palace, not as a cultural bridge, but as a contingency. A quiet observer meant to assess whether the princess posed a threat to galactic stability. He hadn't expected to fall for her. The middle of the story unfolded in silence and stolen moments. Late-night conversations in the observatory. Shared meals where protocol softened into laughter. Esselira asking him about Earth's oceans, its storms, its music. Elias watching her struggle under the weight of expectations she didn't understand. "You look sad," she said once, resting beside him on a balcony overlooking the city's glowing expanse. "I'm not," he lied. She studied him. Humans are terrible liars. That night, she reached for his hand. Her touch sent a tremor through him, not of fear, but of inevitability. This was the moment everything became dangerous. Their bond deepened quietly, carefully, forbidden, but undeniable. And Empress Valethera noticed. The summons came without warning. Elias was escorted into the inner sanctum, a chamber of living crystal that resonated with ancient power. The Empress stood at its center, her form towering, her presence suffocating. "You have grown close to my daughter," she said. Elias kept his voice steady. "She is curious about humanity." She is curious about you, the Empress corrected. Her many eyes narrowed. You know what she is. Elias said nothing. Speak, the Empress commanded. You engineered her people, Elias said quietly. And you engineer her to be obedient. But you failed. The chamber vibrated with suppressed fury. She is perfection, the Empress hissed. She is the future. No, Elias replied. She's a person. That word hung between them like a blade. You will leave, the Empress said coldly. Or I will remove the flaw myself. Elias didn't get the chance. Asilira found him first. She stood in his quarters, her skin flickering violently between colors.
Fear.
Hurt. Betrayal. My mother says you were sent to watch me, she said. That you never cared. Elias closed the distance between them slowly. She told you part of the truth. Her voice shook. Then tell me the rest.
So he did.
He told her about the precursors.
The design. The lie.
The reason she felt different. Why love terrified her mother. Asilira sank onto the bed, her glow dimming to a fragile blue. I'm manufactured, she whispered. No, Elias said fiercely. You're free, and that's what scares them. Tears, actual tears, slid down her cheeks, crystallizing as they fell. You knew, she said. And you stayed. I stayed because I love you, he said. Not because I was told to. She looked at him then, truly looked, and something ancient and new aligned within her. Then I choose you, she said. Alarms erupted across the palace. The ending came with consequences. Asilira confronted her mother before the full court, declaring her autonomy and rejecting the binding protocols that controlled the Aurelian bloodline. The revelation shattered the dominion. Some nobles resisted. Others followed. The energy networks that once obeyed the Empress alone began responding to Asilira instead, not because she commanded them, but because she understood them. Choice resonated where control never had. The coalition intervened, not to suppress, but to adapt. And Elias stood beside Asilira as the old empire transformed into something unprecedented, a civilization no longer bound to destiny, but guided by consent. The Empress was not imprisoned.
She was simply obsolete.
Years later, Elias and Asilira stood together on a quiet platform overlooking a newborn star system, one stabilized not by ancient design, but by cooperative will. Do you regret it? Asilira asked softly. Knowing my mother's secret? Elias smiled.
No.
I regret that you had to carry it alone. She intertwined her fingers with his, her glow warm and steady. Then stay, she said. As my equal. He kissed her beneath the light of a future no one had predicted. And for the first time in the Dominion's history, love, not control, became the foundation of an empire.